Carlitos Way. 6 things about Alcaraz we learned from his Netflix miniseries. He recently passed $40 million in career prize money, but the 21-year-old still sleeps on a twin-sized bed at his parents' place. Carlos Alcaraz couldn't take the court at the Mutua Madrid Open last week due to injury, but his presence was felt all over the Caja Magica ahead of the release of his new Netflix miniseries. Spanning 3 episodes and documenting his 2024 season on and off the court, Carlos Alcaraz, My Way offers a candid look at the whirlwind life of one of the world's top tennis players. Alcaraz also gets real about the pressures that he's under, both from the sports world wanting him to become the next Rafael Nadal, to meeting his own team's high expectations. Already the youngest ATP world number 1 of all time, the 21-year-old has lifted 4 Grand Slams to date and seems poised to rack up more. But sometimes, all he wants to do is hang out with his friends at a Formula One race, or cut loose and forget his worries in Ibiza. The series documents Alcaraz's search for balance through it all, as he seeks to go about his career and personal life in his way. Here are 6 things we learned about the kid from Murcia thanks to Netflix. 1. He still sleeps on a twin-sized bed at his parents' house. Alcaraz recently surpassed $40 million in career prize money, but he's not the kind of guy who splashes out on a flashy penthouse in a tax haven with nice weather. In fact, Alcaraz, who goes by Charlie or Carlitos among friends and family, still lives at home with his parents in El Palmar, Murcia. And he's got no intention of changing that, either. That I could live on my own, but I like being around my family. I like being around my parents. I come here after every tournament, Alcaraz explains. This is my quiet place. I could live on my own, but I like being around my family. I like being around my parents. In the series' opening episode, Finding Joy in the Pain, viewers get a tour of his small bedroom, which includes his twin-sized bed pressed against one wall and shelves stuffed full of his sneaker collection and trophy haul on the other. His Grand Slam trophies occupy a prime spot at the top of his bedroom bookcases, at least for now. I'm running out of space. It's a bit cramped, but it's okay. We make it work. 2. Jannik Sinner is the toughest player you can compete against. Since My Way delves into Alcaraz's 2024 season, it's no surprise that rival Jannik Sinner features prominently throughout the 3 episodes. The pair faced each other 3 times last season, with the Spaniard going 3-0 against the world number 1. Alcaraz heaps praise on Sinner and says his opponent motivates me to be better, a sentiment that Sinner completely agrees with. The Italian even makes a brief cameo as a talking head to shed light on their rivalry, praising Alcaraz's mental strength for playing through cramps in their Roland Garros semi-final and prevailing in a 3-set classic in the Beijing final. Me and Carlos, we have a great rivalry, Sinner says. When we play, there's a bit more extra attention and, from our side, a bit more tension. He won Masters events as I did, and he won Grand Slams. While he's winning, I feel like my practice sessions are getting more intense. 3. Carlitos' cure for burnout? Partying with friends in Ibiza. Part of doing things his way includes disconnecting from the tennis world and blowing off steam when the time is right. Alcaraz is shown doing the kinds of things that normal 20-something Spanish men do, like going to watch a Formula One race or jetting off to Ibiza for a week of partying on the Mediterranean. That becomes a point of contention throughout the series between Alcaraz and his team, who weren't particularly happy that he took a few days off after his Roland Garros victory. If you go to Ibiza for 6 days and go out every single night, by the 7th day you've done anything but rest, says Coach Ferrero. I think it's great to disconnect, but some part of your head has to remember that you're a tennis player. But for Alcaraz, who calculated that he spends a maximum of 2 months at home with friends and family, these breaks aren't just vacations taken on a whim. It's more of a need, says Alcaraz, and a way to combat burnout in the moments when he doesn't want to see a tennis ball for a week and a half. I end up going, and they know what I'm going there for. In Ibiza, I'm not gonna lie, everything is always about partying and going out, Alcaraz tells cameras with a grin. I wanted to go there and get wasted. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it like that, but I just wanted to cut loose. For doing it his way puts Alcaraz at odds with his team's slave to tennis philosophy. If you force Carlos' hand, if you force him to work because that's what's expected of him, we'll lose him. "We'll lose him," says Alcaraz's agent, Albert Molina. "He'll lose his joy, he'll lose his drive, and maybe in 3 years or so he'll quit playing tennis." This somber warning comes not even 10 minutes into the series' first episode, and it sets the tone for the biggest conflict in my way as a young Alcaraz searches for balance and self-expression, while his team attempts to fit him into the exacting mold of tennis greatness. In many interviews, I might get asked, "What are you afraid of?" And I never really know how to answer that. But right now, my biggest fear is to start seeing tennis as an obligation, Alcaraz revealed. "I think it's great to disconnect, but some part of your head has to remember that you're a tennis player." Alcaraz has been candid about struggling with mental exhaustion and fatigue at various points over the years. "It was 24/7, all the time, always thinking about tennis," he says about his 2023 season, and his need to unplug from it all. That frequently puts him at odds with his team's philosophy, which is to work for 24 hours a day and become a slave to tennis. In one revealing clip, Ferrero admits, "His understanding of work and sacrifice is so different from ours. It's so different that it makes me doubt whether his way of doing things will help him become the best in the world." 5. Working with young Carlos was a roller coaster, says Ferrero. "My Way features an all-star cast of tennis legends and greats providing interviews and sharing their perspective on Alcaraz's rise and his career achievements, from Nadal and Roger Federer to Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe, and more. Equally fascinating are the interviews with Alcaraz's close friends and family, with his brother Alvaro and dad Carlos featuring throughout to recall the Spaniard's start in tennis." Ferrero, a former world number 1 who had just been training world number 3 Alexander Zverev, recalled the moment when he got the call from Molina about a promising 15-year-old from Murcia. "The idea of working with a young guy from a young age, helping to build something from the ground up with the knowledge I have as a player, as a coach, the idea spoke to me a lot," Ferrero said. But training a teenager wasn't always easy, as Ferrero also compared his earliest days of working with Alcaraz to a roller coaster. "Carlos was a shy kid at first with me. I think he had a lot of respect for me," he said. "He wasn't very stable in terms of his emotional maturity. Man, he would get very cocky with victories, and then if things didn't go his way, he was down in the dumps. So, basically, it was a roller coaster."